Medela trial demonstration for the initiate aspect of the Medela pump.
Okay, right, so the difference between these pumps and the pumps that you've got now is these all have 2 programs on, okay? And you can actually use this pump from birth. So where before you were told not to use the pump until day 3 or until the mum's established, what we have now is 2 programs, one called the Initiate, which is all about initiating the milk to come in, and then one called Maintain, which is basically about maintaining their milk supply. So normally after they've got 20 mils in 3 consecutive rows. Okay, so basically Medela are the only ones that have the research that back up the different programs that we have, and a lady called Professor Paula Meyer decided that she wanted to see how much get optimum milk supply from mums from birth. Okay, so they looked at how a newborn goes to the breast and how established breastfeeding baby, and it's totally different. Okay, hence why you couldn't use the pump straight away. So on here you've got a little chart that basically shows the sucking pattern of a newborn. So it's quite sort of like pause and then they quite dramatic suck, pause again, suck, hardly any expression. Okay, so basically from this particular research they come up with the Initiate. Now the Initiate is a 15-minute program, and what it does is mimic how a newborn goes to the breast. So you know where before mum would be having to hand express all the time, what she can now do is hand express, but she can use this as a sort of a back, do all the background work for her. So mum's milk normally comes, because you're doing all the stimulation and the priming, mum's milk normally comes in within 1 to 2 days, so it's a lot quicker. Okay, so on the actual chart you'll notice it has different stimulations. You've got 120 cycles, 90 cycles per minute, and just out of the whole 15 minutes there's only 2 minutes of expression, and the actual pump pauses for about 4 seconds each time as well. So we're totally mimicking the process. We want mums to use this Initiate along with hand expressing. So what they can do is go onto the Initiate first and then hand express the colostrum as normal. But what we're saying is they're not sitting there on there for like 10-15 minutes doing it themselves. The pump does that, then they can hand express after. Does that make sense? Yeah. So ideally we want mums to use the pump straight away. So the quicker after birth the better, because obviously we're releasing the oxytocin, the prolactin, and that obviously helps with mum's milk and so on. So as soon as she comes in, she'll do ideally double pumping. Okay, reason being it creates 18% more milk volumes, so it's a lot higher. Obviously for mums, before they go home, if we can get their milk volumes up, that would be really good. But it also creates a higher milk fat content as well, because you're draining the breasts correctly. And with this, if you've got any sort of low birth babies, then this is good, that's good for them.
What do you mean double pumping?
So double pumping means doing 2 at the same time.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Yeah, 2 at the same time. Reason being is, what happens is, when you breastfeed, you have a letdown on both breasts. So when you're double pumping, you're getting the letdowns on both breasts. So you get about 4 or 5 milk ejections on every feed. So the fact that you're double pumping, hence why you get that bigger volume of milk.
So does one machine double pump?
Yeah, so what happens is,
great.
I'll show you on here, put that to the side. So you've got 2,
perfect.
so you go
So
one and then 2, pop it down, and then mum can sit like so. Okay, bit of gymnastics, just need to turn it on and then put it straight onto the pump. So the good thing is the Initiate is only 15 minutes long. It does a little little music tone at the end to let you know the mum's finished. But she's doing double pumping, she's doing it half the time. Now a lot of mums might think, I don't really want a double pump, I don't really like it. You need to tell the benefits, okay? If they know the benefits, if they know that they're going to be on the pump half the time, 9 out of 10, they're more likely to give it a go, okay? So what we want is mum to use the Initiate until she has 20 mils, 3 consecutive rows. Now that 20 mils includes both sides, so she could
10
have
each.
10 on
Okay,
each,
fine.
or she might end up having, I know so some breasts have a little bit more than others, she might have 15 on one, 5 on the other. As long as she has 20 mil in total, that's fine, and it has to be 3 consecutive times as well, because what we're doing is we're making sure that the program's done its job. So all we're doing is initiating the milk in, but after we've done that, because that's only about like priming and stimulating, we then need to move on to the expression, which is what an established breastfeeding baby does. So shall I just show you quickly how the initiate works? So both programs are on the pump. If you go down.
And now all these pumps initiate now.
So all the pumps that have these
Okay,
cards on,
okay,
what
sorry.
we will do, because the good thing about these pumps here is they have a program card at the back. So we can actually upgrade all of your pumps, so all of them have the same on there. So you're looking to get more pumps, but we can also upgrade all your standard ones as well. So everyone knows it doesn't matter what pump you pick up then. Okay, so what we do is we turn the machine on and it will say initiate, press the drop down button. Now you need to press that drop down within 10 seconds, okay? And it just says initiate running, and that's it. Okay, so quite simple. So the initiate, they turn it on, press that button. The only thing that mum will need to do, she needs to adjust her vacuum. Okay, so I'll just show you on here. Okay, so what happens is mum needs to get an adequate vacuum, because if she doesn't, it's not going to do anything. However, it shouldn't hurt. So to find a happy medium, tell her to turn it up. As soon as she finds it a bit uncomfortable, then just turn it back down again. Okay, so, but yeah, that's all she'll have to do on there. And we're not going to watch the whole 15 minutes, because that would be really boring. But you'll see the different, it will do the different stimulations, it will pause. But just to let the mum know that it does a little tune at the end to let her know that it's finished.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Okay. Any questions on the initiate?
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
so you put them on there for 15 minutes and then you get them hand expressing straight away
Perfect.
afterwards.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. And they can express the colostrum and
Okay.
everything. If they find they're having colostrum as they're going through, they could always stop the machine, quickly collect the colostrum, whatever they find easiest. So,
Okay.
but normally if we're doing all the background work first, then they can collect the colostrum afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, and remember their milk will come in a lot quicker as well
Yeah.
than normal, because we're doing all the background work. Okay, right, so that is the initiate. Also remember you're only showing the mum one program at a time. She's not going to be on both programs. So I know we're going through the whole of the training now, but when when she first goes on, just make sure she hits that within 10 seconds. If she misses it, tell her to turn it off and turn it back on again. Okay, so the maintain, we'll just remember mum's got a 20 mil, 3 consecutive rows, and what we do is we turn the machine on, and normally you'd press that within 10 seconds for the initiate. For the maintain, just let it run. So you don't press anything. And it will say maintain running. There we go. So maintain running, and it will go to the droplet bars. We've got the maintain is basically mimicking an established breastfeeding baby. So what that means is when they first latch on, they do this really quick suck, this is what you're aware of, and as soon as the milk comes in, then they slow down to an expression. Now this is exactly what this program does, okay? After 2 minutes, the system automatically kicks into expression. So technically, mum only needs to turn the machine on and adjust her vacuum, yeah? And she'll do that. However, if you have a mum and her milk comes through within like 20 seconds, ideally she needs to replicate what a baby would do, so she'd have to switch to expression. So you can actually override the machine by hitting that button, and then when you do that, it slows down to the expression.
Okay.
Okay? Like so. So you can either let it run and it will kick into expression after 2 minutes, or you can override it and just hit the little droplet button. Okay? Right.
Perfect.
Is that okay?
Thank you.
That's all right.
So that's the Medela training. If the client wants to hire a pump, there are facilities for that as well. And we hope that all staff will be confident enough to use the pump and teach mums confidence too.
Yeah.
One
Should I go
last
through
point.
Just go through the breast shield. So these are really important. We've done more research into it and realised that if mum has the incorrect funnel, the breast shield, it can actually prevent her from going on to breastfeeding, because obviously if it's really painful. So a good way of just looking by the eye, we do 5 different sizes. All the kits come with a size 24, but we've got a 21, 27, 30 and a 36. Okay?
Are they millimetres or something?
They're millimetres,
Okay.
yeah. So when the mum goes on, ideally what we want mum to do is sort of measure her once she's been on the pump for a couple of minutes, because your nipple does expand slightly. So when she's on, this funnel section is the only bit that you want to see the nipple going through, okay, just the nipple. If you see rubbing, like so, on the side of the funnel, mum needs to move up a size, okay? If she has too much areola going in, now this is probably just as important, if not more, it actually restricts the milk ducts, because all your milk ducts are at the front of the breast. So if you've got the areola going in there as well, them ducts at the front are actually being squashed and can't release.
Flattened, yeah.
So it's really important, if you have too much breast going through, she needs to move down a size, because it's only the nipple that you want to go through. Okay, so rubbing, move up a size, too much breast, move down a size. Okay, now there is another way that you can do it. Believe it or not, on here you can actually measure the base of the nipple. It's obviously up to each mum whether or not they'd want to do that. But if you measure the nipple, it will then say if she's a 17 mil, she'll need to go a little bit higher, so she'll be a 21. If she's up to 20, she'll then need a 24. Do you get what I mean? So whatever size she is, she goes up a few millimetres. But we've got like 5 different sizes that they can choose from.
And we have all of those, do we?
We are looking to get them in.
Oh,
so
okay.
then you guys, so we do it like a multi-pack of 5, of all the other sizes, which means it will give you an idea of what size you're using more of. Okay. So if you're using more of the 27, rather than buying the multi-pack, you can just buy a bulk of 27. Okay.
Thank you, Carla.